Hi, I'm Shashank Bhargava, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. In this episode, we talk about the protests that have been taking place in Bangladesh. We also talk about a village that has become a hub for illegal gun manufacturing. But first, we talk about Bihar. Earlier this week, the state was struck by its biggest hooch tragedy since the Nitish Kumar-led government banned alcohol in 2016. Now, for those of you who may not know, hooch is a term for cheap and poor quality alcohol that is made in a very unregulated and crude manner. And if done incorrectly, it can lead to serious injury and death. And this is exactly what happened in Bihar's Saran district this time, where 26 people have died after drinking hooch. Though 26 is the official figure, unofficially, however, the figure stands at more than 78. And we're going to talk more about that later. But the other thing to consider is that this recent tragedy has captured the nation's attention. And a big reason for that is because it coincided with the Bihar Assembly's winter session, where a lot of heated exchanges took place between the opposition leaders and Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, who also openly rejected the demands for compensation to the families of the victims.
दारू पी के मर जाएगा तो उसको हम लोग कंपनसेशन देंगे, सवाल ही नहीं पैदा होता, ये कभी मत सोचिए। और नहीं, अगर यही करना है तो सब मिलके तय कर लीजिए, खूब कहिए कि शराब पियो, इसलिए ये सब बात ठीक नहीं है।
In this segment, we speak to Indian Express's Santosh Singh, who reports on Bihar for the paper about this latest tragedy. Santosh, could you tell us about what exactly happened in the Saran district this time?
So it happened at three places in Saran, a place called Masrak, Amnaur and Iswapur. These three places all come under Marhora subdivision of Saran. It is just 100 kilometers away from Patna. And see, liquor is reportedly imported from Uttar Pradesh. I am not saying that it is manufactured there, that mafia could have taken that route. This is where it comes from. And we learned that a tanker came or a vehicle came, and whichever route they crossed through, the tragedy happened. They crossed through all those routes. It was problem with that lot of the liquor. And of course, all the consumers were from lower income group and OBC Saab family. And the liquor pouches were available for 30 rupees and 50 rupees. And home delivery is also there. And there are identified points where the liquor is easily available, whether in Masrak, Amnaur or wherever, and for that matter, in any part of the Bihar.
Right, and could you speak a bit more about this aspect? Because Bihar has had prohibition since 2016. But despite that, alcohol is readily available in various parts of the state. So talk about where all it comes from, apart from UP, which you mentioned earlier.
Yes, that's very relevant question. And let me just explain it not just for Saran case, just for the entire Bihar. 8 Bihar districts border Nepal. We also border Jharkhand, West Bengal and Uttar Pradesh. Now you know the route from where it comes from. From all these routes, they cannot have police force or Sashastra Seema Bal at all these places. There is river route, there are some unknown routes, jungle routes, and they have found many innovative ways to transport it into the state. The modus operandi is a big truck comes, they puts all the liquor stock, say in Jharkhand or Uttar Pradesh. From there, smaller vehicles will take it to the designated place where they mean to sell it. They will have so many distributors, suppliers inside the state. Suppose they will come to Saran, they will go to Masrak, Amnaur, Iswapur, wherever. All those small places, there are suppliers. The suppliers pick it and then they sell it at the outlets. There are some fixed outlets. All drinkers know about their hideouts, all the clandestine places. Or now they have also gone to the home delivery model. From the bikes and scooties, they deliver it. It's very clear, all those drinkers, all those who are drinking before are still drinking. That is my point. At least before prohibition, they knew that their liquor is not bad, not spurious, and they had to pay less. Now they had to pay at least 3 more times, and they are not sure whether it is okay liquor or it is spurious liquor. This is where the comes. And liquor was available everywhere before prohibition. It is available everywhere, even post prohibition.
Okay, and coming back to the tragedy this time, we understand that the unofficial toll is much higher than the official one. Unofficial is about 78 now, but official is just 26. And you have also reported that this has happened earlier as well. Between 2016 to 2021, over 200 people died because of Hooch. But again, the official figure is just 23. So could you talk about why the official figure remains low and how the unofficial figure is calculated?
See, once you reach the spot and say you visit a village and you get to know that these many persons have died because of consuming liquor. And some families are pressurized to cremate the bodies of the victims without postmortem. And they are said if you go for postmortem, you might face a police case just to escape all those problems. And those who are pressurizing them are also the men from liquor mafia, the agents of liquor mafia. You don't know. When the media is there, they are very much there. They are the part of the crowd. So it is not just the pressure from the police. It is also pressure from the liquor mafia. And they are very strong people. And they somehow got, I cannot clearly say that whether they got political protection or from patronage or not, but they are well connected people. And the pattern of the death is the same. They complain of dizziness, vomiting, headache, stomach upset. All the symptoms are the same. And some are admitted to private hospitals, some are admitted to the government hospitals. Some complain of blurred vision. So you can make out that it's liquor. It is not coincident that certain numbers of death at a certain number of time, that the regions could be different. And I cannot believe that police do not know all the points where liquor is being sold. When a 14-year-old boy tells us that this is available at this place, at that place, I cannot believe that they don't know. It's not just failure of their intelligence. I think they lack will and wherewithal to enforce prohibition.
And in the meantime, what do we know about the kind of action that the administration has taken in this matter right now?
See, there are two kinds of action they have taken. For the particular incident, they registered an FIR, and till last evening, 8 people had been arrested. And that included some of the local liquor traders. And so far, we do not know whether they are connected to some big shots or not, or they have big connections with the liquor mafia elsewhere. And for the entire district, they have also launched a drive. In that, they have arrested more than 100 people so far.
And Santosh, since all this is happening under prohibition, could you tell us how Nitish Kumar's views have changed on this issue over time? Because in his first term, that is between 2005 to 2010, he had actually liberalized the liquor policy in Bihar.
See, I often say that it's a classic case, not just in Bihar's political history, Indian political history, that the same chief minister liberalized liquor policy and same chief minister imposed prohibition. In November 2005, when Nitish Kumar took over as Bihar chief minister, it was a cash-starved state, and he just found that liquor policy could be one way to generate revenue. And it happened exactly that way by 2015. From 500 crore, it shot up to say 5,000 crore. But when Nitish Kumar switched over to UPA, by that time he just was looking for a political plank. Of course, he was known for good governance, but good governance in a state could not have been a national political plank. So he looked for something which could go down nationally well. And this is where he imposed prohibition. He was also looking to consolidate his caste-neutral women constituency and just to send a cross message of Gandhi. So in 2016, April, he imposed prohibition, and ever since he has been facing hurdles about it. So then Nitish Kumar had to, amend the act thrice in between these years. He just tried to took away all those stringent provisions. Earlier, there was provision of a community fine that was lifted. Earlier, there was provision if one person of a family is arrested, other persons could also face arrest. So all these stringent provisions had to be lifted, but now it is stuck. It has become a proverbial albatross around the news of the government. He cannot roll it back. He cannot enforce it fully. This is where I think Nitish Kumar is facing problem. He is losing his temper. Whenever he faces tough questions on liquor policy, either from the media or from the opposition, he goes livid over it.
Right, and this time during the Bihar Assembly session, the opposition took up this issue. Nitish Kumar faced a lot of flack over this, Saran district tragedy, and we did see him getting angry over it. So tell us a bit more about that.
So on Wednesday, leader of opposition, Vijay Kumar Sinha, he just took up the matter. He took up the Saran Hooch tragedy. This had happened. And he just wanted apology from the government for the failure of liquor policy. This enraged Nitish Kumar. And he rose from his chair. He lost his cool. And though some mics were off, still he was heard saying, "Kya hua? Chup raho. Barbad ho jaoge." Things like that. And also blamed BJP for not cooperating with them. And there are certain things under legislative reporting we cannot report because so many things are expunged. Expunged things cannot be the part of the reporting. So whatever said was uncharitable but not in good taste and against the parliamentary decorum. Later, Vijay Kumar Sinha held a press conference in his Vidhan Sabha chamber. We were all there. He said that it's a kind of massacre under government care, protection. He likened it to massacre. He said that it has never happened that Chief Minister has spoken to me. I am a leader of opposition, which has a cabinet rank. Never in the history, Bihar's legislative history, a Chief Minister has spoken to leader of opposition like this. And then Vijay Sinha led a team to Saran. 30-member BJP team went there and they sought report. And from there, finally, they allowed a discussion in the assembly on Friday. They spoke, Nitish Kumar also spoke. Nitish Kumar also tried to justify why he had said, "Piyoge to maroge." He said he said it part of awareness. But for the chief minister, of a head of the government to say that, I don't think it was not in good taste. He could have paraphrased it. He could have said in some other words. That is why he has been receiving so much flack over whatever he said.
And next we talk about Bangladesh. For over a month now, massive protests have been taking place across our neighboring nation. The main opposition in the country, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party or BNP, has been holding rallies demanding the resignation of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. And this is happening at a time when the country's economy is witnessing a major downturn. And apart from these rallies, all 7 parliamentarians of the BNP have resigned, accusing Sheikh Hasina's party of stealing the 2018 election. In this segment, we speak to Indian Express's National Editor of Strategic Affairs, Nirupama Subramanian, about these protests. So Nirupama, begin by telling us what is the reason that we are seeing these protests by the main opposition party in Bangladesh?
I think what has happened is, of course, the major reason is because they're going into elections next year. So obviously the BNP is trying hard to make a comeback in this election because they've been really out of the scene for the last 10 years. This is Sheikh Hasina's 3rd term in office and she will obviously she's seeking re-election. And if she comes back for a 4th term, that will be quite a record. And BNP has been more or less, it was kind of written off as a spent force after the last election because many things had happened. Its main ally, the Jamaat-e-Islami, was banned as a political party. So it was out of the scene. And then the BNP itself had boycotted the 2014 election. And then when it tried to make a comeback in the 2018 election, it didn't get that much of traction. Only 7 BNP members were elected, so they didn't do well at all. So this is the election in which they're trying to come back. And they found an opening in the fact that Bangladesh's economy is in bad shape.
Yes, in fact, last month, Bangladesh even reached out to the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, asking for help. And according to an IMF press release, Bangladesh will receive economic assistance worth $4.5 billion. Now, Sheikh Hasina's government is essentially blaming the pandemic and Russia's war in Ukraine for the country's economic disruption. So, talk a bit about that.
One thing is, of course, the economic issues. Inflation is very high right now in Bangladesh. commodity prices have spiked, so many associated problems because of the war in Ukraine. But people are also saying, critics of the government are saying that there are other problems. I mean, economic issues have not come up just because of the Ukraine war. It predates that because there's been some financial mismanagement, there's been corruption, there's been unnecessary and extravagant spending on infrastructure projects. So they are saying that this is not just because of the war and are laying the blame on the government for bringing about this crisis. Also, the reason that the BNP has decided to get its act together right now is because after 3 terms, there is bound to be some kind of anti-incumbency working. And in Sheikh Hasina's case, there is even more so because she has ruled virtually with an iron fist over the last 10 years. Of course, after a lot of arrests of opposition leaders, Jamaat leaders, she also went after the BNP, and Khalida Zia, the leader of the BNP, was arrested in a corruption scandal. She was convicted of corruption charges and she was arrested, and many cases against her. So there's been a crackdown on dissent. There's been a crackdown on media. There's a very draconian media act called the Digital Security Act. So there are various things. She's seen as authoritarian. Her style of functioning is very, either my way or the highway.
Right, and I suppose the fact that these protests are happening despite the crackdown by the Hasina government also tells us something about the significance of them, right?
I think they got a huge response because somewhere there is a feeling that this has become too much of a one-party country and that there needs to be some kind of correction. I do want to point out here that Bangladeshis consider themselves very secular. There's a deep commitment to secularism in that country. And also they are quite aware that there are forces that are trying to radicalize and, bring about extremist forces in the country. So they're very aware of that. They're also very aware that Khalida Zia had some kind of links with these retrogressive forces. But at the same time, they are quite unhappy with the functioning of Sheikh Hasina. Just today, I was reading an editorial in one of the newspapers which says, okay, here we are. It's 51 years now. Today is the anniversary of the birth of Bangladesh, actually December 16th. And there was this editorial saying we sacrificed so much to become independent, and now again we are seeing that kind of authoritarian tendency in the state. So we really need to think about how far we have traveled from that sort of idealism with which Bangladesh was born. So there are all these thoughts, and I think that's the reason why the BNP's call for protest resonated, and the turnout was so huge that it has rattled the government. I think the government is pretty aware that the BNP seems to have mobilized this huge crowd.
And Nirupama, right now the BNP has a list of these 10 demands. One, of course, is that Sheikh Hasina should resign. And the other major one is that there should be a caretaker government. Could you explain what that is?
That is, when the country is going into elections, maybe 3 or 4 months ahead or at some point chosen by consensus, the incumbent steps off and a caretaker government is appointed to oversee the elections. And this was felt necessary for fairness, for making the elections more inclusive, for giving all parties a level playing field and so on. So this had been provided for in the constitution earlier, but somewhere along the way, Sheikh Hasina got rid of that provision and she said that there is no need for a caretaker government and the incumbent will continue until the elections. So that is one of the most important demands. And, we'll have to see what kind of pressures BNP tries to bring on the government to accede to that demand.
And Nirupama, in the meantime, how has the Sheikh Hasina government reacted to all this?
So I don't think they have really responded politically, meaning officially as a government. But I think politically various things are at play. One is, of course, that they have arrested a lot of activists of the BNP. They have arrested some top leaders of the BNP. But they did allow that protest to go ahead. Now the BNP has called another protest on the 24th of December, which is the coming Saturday. And we'll have to see how they respond to that. But the government has not responded to any of the demands of the BNP. So that's where we are at the moment. And there are fears that there'll be a big confrontation. There have been these confrontations in the past, 2012, 2013. The government was virtually paralyzed. The country was virtually paralyzed because of these large-scale protests and violent confrontations. So there are fears that that cycle of violence and confrontation may repeat itself again. But I think we can safely say that the government is feeling some pressure. After a very long time, it is facing some political heat.
And next we talk about Punjab. Since the Punjabi singer and actor Sidhu Moosewala was shot dead earlier this year, the state administration has been trying to crack down on the supply of illegal weapons in the state. And last month, they made a breakthrough when they arrested 2 people who were from the Umarti village, which is located on the border of Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. And the Mohali police now claim that the majority of the weapons in Punjab actually come from this very village. In this segment, Indian Express's Jagdeep Singh Deep, who recently went to Umarti, tells us more about it.
In November, Mohali police arrested 2 persons from Umarti village in Maharashtra, and during their interrogation it came to light that they were manufacturing weapons and they were procuring it from their neighboring village. Mohali police recovered 20 pistols and 35 magazines and also live cartridges from these 2 accused. And Mohali police was also interrogating some of the gangsters in Punjab who have revealed that they were procuring the weapons from this particular village. And during the research on this story, it was found that around 400 to 500 weapons were smuggled from this village to Punjab by various gangsters.
Right, and just for context, there are in fact 2 villages named Umarti, both divided by a river. One is on the Maharashtra side and the other one is on the Madhya Pradesh side. And the MP side is the one that manufactures weapons. And you in fact visited this village. Talk about what you found there.
So I share my experience with you. When I entered this village, it was like very welcoming village and it is dominated by the Shiklikar Sikhs. They are from Sikh community. I went there and I spoke to a few people, and one of the young man, he was around 25, 26 or 27. He approached me and he himself asked me that whether I want any weapon or not. So I asked him whether you can provide me any weapon. So he was very much keen to supply the weapons. Then I asked him, I prodded him about manufacturing of weapons. He told me that they can arrange, they make weapons. So it was quite easy for me to strike a deal there.
And Jagdeep, how much does it really cost to get a gun in that village?
So first he told me that he can give me .32 bore pistol for rupees 50,000 and .30 bore pistol for rupees 50 or to 60,000. But after some negotiation, he was agreed to provide me the .32 pistol for rupees 20,000 and .30 bore pistol for rupees 30,000.
And do we know how this village became this hub for manufacturing guns?
So I spoke to some locals and police officials in that area. They told me that during British era, this area was notorious for dacoits. So during that time, the dacoits used to get their weapons from locally manufactured weapons from these people. But later on, they became expert in making weapons, and now they are making high-end weapons. You can't make a difference between a branded weapon or made in Umarti weapon.
And Jagdeep, what do we know about how these weapons are transported out of this village?
So during the investigation of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and Punjab police, it came to light that weapons are being transported to other states either by public transports like buses and trains, or people used to come in their own vehicles and they get the weapons. But the very easy way to transport and smuggle the weapons is public transport. because like buses and trains, people can get the weapons smuggled easily. After discovery of a lot of weapons in this area, the state police in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh, they become strict and they started checking the vehicles from other states. So at present, public transport is among the most used medium by these smugglers to transport the weapons to other states.
And could you also talk about the kind of communities that reside in this village and the areas around it?
So this particular village is dominated by the Shiklikar Sikh community, and the neighboring village, Umarti village in Maharashtra, is dominated by the tribals. The tribals mostly are farmers, and in this village, some of the residents of Umarti village in Madhya Pradesh are also doing farming, and there are people who are in government services also.
Okay, now that the police have found out about this village, what kind of steps are they taking?
So, thing is, Maharashtra police have been frequently raiding this place. So do Madhya Pradesh police. But the problem with this area is that there are 3 to 4 more villages except this village where weapons are being manufactured for the past many years. So police, no doubt, they raid, they arrest the people. Recently in Maharashtra, few people have recovered 14 to 15 weapons from them which were built in this village. Then Madhya Pradesh police arrested 3 persons in September and they have recovered 51 pistols from them. They do, but I think coordinated action by the agencies and the state police is needed.
Okay, so since this matter involves Punjab, Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh, who all is investigating this matter?
See, this village which we are talking about, it is located in Madhya Pradesh, not in Maharashtra. So weapons are manufactured in the village which is located in Madhya Pradesh. So Maharashtra police do not have the jurisdiction there. But yes, whenever they get any lead, they go there with the help of Madhya Pradesh police. Same is done by the Punjab police. Recently, they busted the module there and they have informed the Madhya Pradesh police. Then they entered the village and recovered the weapons. And very recently, Ropar police, it is a district in neighboring district in Mohali. So Ropar police recovered 20 weapons which were also made in this village, and they have identified one person who is providing these weapons to criminals in Punjab.
You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was written and produced by me, Shashank Bhargava, and was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it, share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.